Say yes every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide. And say yes every day.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are in for a treat because we are joined by the incredible Laura Hopkins. She is the SVP of Membership Meetings and Empower and recently a Women with Vision Award winner. Thank you so much for joining us, Laura. I know we have so much to speak about here, but we kick off Wednesday Wisdom with we go through life. We pick up these little pieces of advice from family, mentors, business, and some lessons sit with us and last. Laura, if I was going to say, what piece of advice would you like to share with our audience? What would that be?
Well, one thing that I live by, I have lots of pieces of advice that I've taken to heart, but one is those who say it can't be done shouldn't interrupt those doing it. So when I am faced with something, I'm going to always look at it from how can this be done instead of all the reasons why it can't be done. And I just feel if you look at something like that, now maybe you don't come up with the correct result, but you'll always get closer to a solution than just coming up with a lot of reasons why you can't do something or
how powerful is that? Right? And I think it's Henry Ford that said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Right. Whichever way that you look at it. Right. And what you just said, it sounds simple, but yet so complex because any situation that you look at, you have two ways and you never know if it's going to work, to your point, right? You don't know, but you're going to go into it with it's possible, possible, and then you're going to work through it. And that's a perfect lead in to the next question and kind of, you have jumped into some new things and so excited for you and so excited for Marcia, for going on to her next chapter and well deserved and all of, what she accomplished and kind of paved the way to get to this point, right? So Laura, I'd love to hear. Tell us all of the exciting things you're working on with the MBA and Empower. And I know you have so many great things coming up. So give us a sneak peek there.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time. And we are so appreciative to everybody and Marcia and everything she's done to build the foundation. And now I was just speaking the other day and I kind of said, Empower 2.0. So like, where do we go from here? We're really focusing on women supporting women in a way that we haven't before as a focus. Because again, like I said, we've got a great foundation. We have a solid group of thousands of amazing women. And that's who we want to look toward now. And those are the people we want to spotlight and learn from. So the other piece, and you can take this concept for our conferences too, but what are the hands-on things that we all need to learn as people in this industry? So whether it's back office or, B2B or customer facing, we talk about AI all the time, but what do I need to know? So hands-on experiences overall at conferences. Our industry has proven we want to be together. We want to be people together with people. So how do we create more experiences with each other and learn from all of the different generations? We talk a lot about bringing in our young professionals and people coming into the mortgage industry not accidentally. So now how do we take those new views, because we're getting to a changing of the guard, I think, in our industry, and I love it, and I appreciate
that's a good thing. That's natural progression, right?
Exactly, and you have to acknowledge that people want different experiences, and so I think we're looking forward to pivoting and meeting the members where they are.
Well, number one, that's music to my ears. And I think, listen, I think we all agree that after COVID, everything changed. Like everything changed, right? In every direction of our world, right? And to your point, so many more people are working remotely. And therefore, these conferences and these events have become so much more important and so much more valuable, right? Because you're not necessarily with your team members every single day in an office, right? So now, okay, we get to go to a conference. To your point, I think that we sit so much time on video at our computers using AI and technology that human component where you say about having the hands-on and actually doing and connecting, I think that is a vital component that you can't ignore, to your point, right? You can't ignore it.
Every generation too. It's just not the old lady like me, but everybody wants it. We want that time together, and we also want it to be productive and be able to go back and use what we've learned. So it's been exciting. Great. And all the conferences I think throughout our industry are fruitful in their own way, and we are gearing up for a really cool annual conference too, so it'll be fun, and
that's
we'll have
awesome.
great speakers as always.
Yeah. Oh no, listen, we all look forward to it every single year, and they're always amazing. And it's interesting. I'll share even on my side that my kids actually work with me now, both of my children.
Son.
Yeah, and now I'm traveling with one of them at all the conferences. He will be attending with me to the MBA conferences because I'm kind of at that stage that I'm now in. Well, who better for people to learn from than us leaders that have been doing this for all these years? And I think, Laura, to be honest, I think this is a topic that we all need to be speaking about of what are our succession plans, right? Whether it is our team members we're bringing in, right? Our new team members that are coming in from our leadership programs, going through our future leaders, having people get their CMB, like all of the education that MBA provides, all of that, right? Or whether it's a combination of those two plus going to the conferences, all of these things are important factors. Matter of fact, it's funny, Laura, you guys did a webinar. I can't remember exactly when it was, maybe about 6 months ago. And there was a webinar that the MBA put on that was, where are the biggest risks to an IMB? And I remember being on the webinar, and then I looked at the PowerPoint after, and one of the things on there was not having a great succession plan.
Yep. Yeah.
So all of this comes together.
Yeah. And sometimes, people are trying to protect their own job, but that way of thinking really needs to shift, because teaching other people, bringing people up to the table is beneficial to everybody. They're not replacing you. They're learning from you, but then they also might see things from a different angle and have suggestions. And really too, through our impact, we will have special pricing for you to bring a 35 and under to annual, because
I didn't know that, Laura.
Well,
I'm really happy you shared that.
Breaking news, actually. Yay! So I don't know.
Good to know. That's great.
But we do, it's something that we feel strongly about. We talk about bringing people with you, and we know budgets are tight, but we have to expose people to all different facets, and going to a conference, and this really isn't supposed to be all about conferences, but going to a conference is a lot of things that people don't experience. So
yeah. And listen, this is a relevant topic that everybody needs to pay attention to, and it's part of sustaining and growing our organization.
Right.
So very, very, very good. All right. So you mentioned a little bit of 2.0. I love the 2.0, you know, how exciting that is. And you mentioned, it sounds to me like a lot of focus on, and I'm going to use the word mentoring, even though that's not necessarily what you said, but I picture this working with, empowering, working together, lifting up, pulling forward, all of that, right? So with all of that in mind, I just want to know what would be your answer to, what was something, now that you're part of Empower fully, like leading it, what was something that surprised you?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm just thinking.
I think one of the things that surprised me was the amount of people we have that are part of Empower, and the low activity on the Empower community, which is the virtual community. I've started putting more things out there, and I think either people may have settings incorrectly, or they're not seeing it. But the other thing that really surprised me, and I will talk about this at the Empowering You Summit, the people who came up to me, who still come up to me, that are like, you need something, let me know. I'm in. Put me in.
That.
People I knew, people I didn't know, women of all ages. And can I tell you what, one other thing that surprised me is we still do have women being put in uncomfortable situations at conferences and in their workplace and all over, just at every level. And it's just surprised me that conversation is still going on. So I want to acknowledge that.
I absolutely would say I agree with you that I have that awareness also, and same reaction of surprise.
I know. And there's so many amazing male allies too.
Of course.
So I think as we just raise awareness and ask them to just speak up if you hear something that just doesn't sound cool to you, just have the confidence that if you speak up, people will respect you more. And that's all. I mean,
and you bring up such a great point. You bring up such a great point, because we all know there are so many wonderful, wonderful people in this industry, but sometimes people just aren't sure of should they, shouldn't they, how do they, what do we do? And that's why having organizations and communities where we feel comfortable to have, whether it's a difficult conversation or a fun conversation, just being okay with having the conversation.
Right. Like,
it allows us
together. Yes. We want it to be better for everybody. There's enough business to go around, but really we have to be one inside.
That is correct. And that's why even just having this conversation is another step forward, because it's when we don't have the conversation, when things get quiet and pushed down. We're not doing that, right? We're having the conversation, and we will continue to have the conversation.
Yeah, and I feel like people are pretty open to it.
They are.
I mean, if you're not open to it, then you're probably part of the problem. So I mean, my experience is there's just a few that are not on board.
Agree.
And so we just keep working together. And like I said, supporting each other. Just leave the ego at the door.
Exactly. I love it. All right. Well, we're rounding the corner to my favorite question, because every single time I ask this question, I get the most unique responses, right? I never hear two of the same answer. Okay. So we always end with, I'm a big believer that when we say things out loud, we're kind of planting seeds of things, to your point, and when you started, anything is possible, right? Everything can occur. So, Laura, our final question is, if I took out my little magic wand and I provided you with unlimited knowledge, unlimited resources to accomplish or do anything in your lifetime, what would it be? And why?
Okay, well, you think about these things, oh, if I won the lottery, I would do this. One thing that always comes to my mind when I look around at all the beautiful places I get to go, and I live in Florida, so on the weekend I walk along their yachts and everything, and my first feeling is always like that one thing could be a whole life for a family in America. So I would, if I could do anything, it would be to help a few families or anyone who really had children, to get them into schools and to get the parents a job, that kind of thing, to really make a difference, a real difference in somebody's life. That's really my ultimate dream, is to
be able to make an impact.
Not people that are so like, there's such a disparage sometimes. And I know sometimes I complain and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have nothing to complain about. But really, so like people have the same kind of opportunity. And of course, there's always going to be somewhat more than others. But yeah, I would love to wave a wand and have people get along and have food, and nothing really that extravagant. Of course, I wouldn't mind a facelift or something like that, but
well, we can add that on too. We can add that on too, right?
That's an easy one.
But look at Laura, as you're saying it, I'm thinking about what we do for a living. I think about how many families we positively affect. Not even just the families that we bring home ownership to, because we know the generational wealth that is going to occur. Right. Maybe generations that people aren't even on this earth to see. That what you just described, and it's beautiful that you want to have that positive impact and help relieve some of that stress for even the simplest things, right? Taking off the stress of making sure they have employment and stability and food stability, right? Not having food insecurity and things like that, right? But I think about, why is this industry so special? Because we change lives every single day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it could be lives of multiple generations in the future, mm-hmm. that home and that equity or that, having an investment property or what, like all of these things that we do with home ownership, right?
And
right.
Really
stability, like all of it. Oh. So thank you for sharing that. We're putting that out into the world, because that is something we want to multiply and we want to spread, and we will do that in many, many, many ways. Yes. And thank you for sharing that, because it is possible that we all have that gift to share. Thank you. Yeah. All right, Laura, how do people learn more about the MBA? Any questions, any programs, anything they want to know?
Well, first of all, I'm available as much as possible, lhopkins@mba.org, but mba.org has all of our information, but myself and the whole member relations team is here at your disposal, as well as all of our subject matter experts. I think, you would agree. There's an open door. Our CEO, Bob, is also available to talk. So just don't be afraid to reach out to us as a resource.
Absolutely. It's interesting you say that, Laura, because I can even tell for myself, my younger self, I was kind of like, the MBA is like, oh my goodness, they're like up there and they got so much and they're at this level. But I will tell you, the entire MBA team, I mean, besides the fact you guys are all lovely and wonderful people, you're so helpful and so experienced and knowledgeable and able to connect and point you to the right places and everything else. So for everyone out there, take it from one person to another.
Yes.
Please don't be shy. Please.
Don't be shy at all. We're only an email away, and that's what we're here for. I mean, everybody at MBA, we're here for the members.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And once again, congratulations for your Women with Vision Award, and keep shining bright. We will be following you and everything MBA is doing, and keep shining, my friend.
All right. See you soon. Thank you, Laura.